Ready to wrap up another week? Good morning. Good morning, Internet. Good morning, world. Good morning, friends. How you doing? We're doing things a little differently today. I don't know how this is going to look. As usual, I won't know if this is even worth, if this video is even worth using until after I shoot it. Because there's no way of seeing what the hell is going on in that camera unless I get up and look, and then of course I'm not here. So, hi. Today's Thursday. Today's April 16th. We're just a few short months away from my birthday. How you doing? Did I already say that? Sorry. It's been a long night. I had a pretty bad schizophrenic attack last night. So my sleep has not been the best. And as I was awake, I had some time to think. And so I want you to know that this is the end of week 4 of doing this. 4 weeks. So this is what my beard looks like after 4 weeks. This is what my hair looks like after having not been cut or cleaned up, trimmed, whatever, for 4 weeks. Jessica, my barber, I miss you so very much. You know, I would go and see my barber every month, and we would shoot the shit about all kinds of things. She's pretty cool and has a great location. But until I can get out of the house, this son of a bitch is gonna keep growing, and who knows how long it'll get. Vicky is very pro big beard. She wants me to join ZZ Top. There's like 3 people in the whole world who just got that joke. Anyway, so I've got my coffee. As you can see, it's super hot. I just poured it. I just want to put it down because it's so hot. And I know that I'm zoomed in, so you probably can't even see the cup half the time. So why am I even holding it? I don't know. We're going to go a little slow today. I'm warning you of that in advance. I've been putting a lot more edits in these videos. I don't know if you've noticed. But I tend to meander like a wide, lazy river. Just as wide and just as moist, oddly enough. But anyway, I started this 4 weeks ago after having been in this house for 1 week. If you are someone who joined after the beginning, I'm an author. I write fiction and nonfiction. I have over 30 books available on Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, everywhere they sell books online. Trying to remember other sites. Oh, Audible, that's right. So I'm an author, and I work out of my house. And my wife, after the governor of California issued the stay-at-home order, my wife started working from home. And because she's on the phone and she's always talking to people, and our walls aren't all that thick, and on the opposite side of the bedroom wall is my studio where I used to work, where I used to write. And unfortunately, my wife needs to do her job, and I totally understand that. I tell stories for a living. So I have been stepping back from writing, with the exception of DC Home, which is coming out bi-weekly these days. I haven't been doing any writing, so I had to find something. Sorry about kicking the table there. I had to find something to fill my time. And so, on a whim, I pulled out the camera. I pulled out the phone, my phone out of my pocket, and I decided that I would just start filming these impromptu, what my friend Tim calls improvisational. He probably says it better. Videos, just telling you about what's going on with me, and having a little sit down with you so we can enjoy our coffee once it cools down to a normal temperature. Here, I'm just going to give it a taste. Yep, burned my tongue. Doesn't taste bad though. Not that I can taste with that tongue anymore. I'll have to get a new one. Anyway, hi. So where was I? 4 weeks. I haven't been writing. Been kind of losing my mind. I've been doing these videos, and of course, I've started reading. You wouldn't know it, but I'm right-handed. I've also started reading, and this has been filling my days. I mean, I don't get done until around 3 or 4, and I start at 8, so it gives me pretty much a full day of work, and I like that. The only problem is, and you may not be familiar with this, you may not be editing video all day long yourself, but I have headphones on all day, and my right ear now, from wearing headphones constantly, is something gross that you don't want to know about. I need to take some time away from all of this. And so I'm going to be slowing down a little bit. I'm going to take a couple days off. I'm going to let my ear recuperate and get a little less waxy. And also I'm going to take a little time off just because after 4 weeks, I've been doing this pretty regularly, and I got to tell you, yesterday when I filmed, I sat here for over a half an hour. The video that resulted was about 21 minutes. So if you can imagine, if that was even a half hour, that would have been 9 minutes of me doing this. You don't want to see that. So I edited heavily yesterday, and I can't say I really liked it very much. So I'm going to take a little time off also just to recuperate and give me something to talk about when I'm back here again next week. I will be here next week, but only for a couple days. I don't know which days. It really just depends on when I have something worth talking about. We'll do a little reading next week. I'm not going to do any reading today. Now that we're at chapter 5, that's halfway through my planned reading of the first 10 chapters. Now, I know that's the first time I've announced that. It's not the kind of thing you really announce. But now you know. So you know. And you know, we're only going to get to chapter 10 of Climbing Maya, but try to keep in mind, available on iTunes, Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, this, over 30 titles available. I know, I'm pitching hard. I'm pitching for all I'm worth. What can I tell you? I haven't done any real writing in about a month. And I was thinking about that this morning and how just I'm losing my mind. Just going crazy. These novels, you know, that I'm working on don't stop developing because you stop writing. So what has happened is I found myself polishing so that even the ideas that are turds are nice and polished. I stopped about halfway through a novel called Sue Jorgensen, Queen of Space. It's the second novel in the Breakthrough series that follows Max Dedge and the time of the Uniborg. So I'm about not even halfway through. What was I? I was about 20,000 words in, so maybe about a quarter of the way through. I'm just outside of Earth's orbit, waiting to be dropped back down to Earth. I should say my characters are. But that's where they are. That's where they sit. Sorry, I had to hold on. My eye is so itchy. So that's where they are. That's where they sit, and they will remain there for some time, because every day our time here is extended a little bit longer. You know, we started out and it looked like it was going to be April, and then it looked like it was going to be May, and now it's definitely going to be May, no matter what Trump keeps saying. And I've been hearing a lot of June dates. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about August. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about fall. So we're in for a much longer haul than I thought originally when I started doing this. This was supposed to be very temporary. And I'm not good at talking to people who are here. So you can just imagine how difficult it has been to do this 4 days a week. And then everything, everything shuts down. You know how it is. You try and think of things to say and your brain just flatlines. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about this morning. I don't think I talked about staying here enough, but there was one other thing, and maybe I might dovetail back over to this whole talk about just being here. But yesterday, I saw a story in the news that really bothered me, and it's bothered me all morning long this morning. And you've heard about this. It's the people who are protesting having to behave like intelligent human beings. They're protesting this. They're protesting having to take care of their own health. They're protesting having to be reasonable individuals. Never in my life did I actually think I would see Americans protesting having to be reasonable individuals. And of course, they say that they are practicing their rights as Americans. You know, they say that they're practicing their right of assembly, their right of free speech. They have so many rights, lots and lots of rights. They've got rights to the right of them. They've got rights to the left of them. Yes, I'm not even gonna go further with that. But it's funny that they base this all on talks about rights, because this isn't a rights issue. And I wanted to talk about that with you a little bit, because one of the feelings I get reading about this on Facebook and on Reddit and seeing stories about this, one of the feelings that I get is that not a whole lot of people understand what this is about. Like, a lot of news services, outlets, cover this to the point of they're practicing their First Amendment rights. And that's where it ends. So the story is, here's a bunch of people acting stupid. They're practicing their rights. Whoopee! Okay, maybe not the whoopee. The whoopee is not so much. The whoopee is implied. But nobody ever sits down and goes any further, because there is more to this. Since I was a kid, way back in the 14th century, I have for my whole life I have seen people who do these things. They act like complete morons and try and justify it with something noble. And that goes all the way back to the person who is smoking and says that they're being an individual. They don't listen to others, and people who just do dumb fucking shit and then act like it's because of an important reason. So these people who are protesting common sense, they're not practicing their rights. They're being contrarians. This is a word that has become popularized in the last 20, 30 years, contrarian. But when you think about something like democracy, and you think about something like government, what you really are talking about, especially in the case of a democracy, in the case of America, is hundreds of millions of people who live together every day, and they're okay with that. They don't feel any need to get out and be assholes. We have democracy to thank for that. Have you ever thought about how much democracy gives us at such a low cost, low price to you? I mean, what do you pay? You vote every 4 years. If we're lucky to get you to vote every 4 years, you're supposed to vote more often. But you vote once every 4 years, and you pay some taxes, which is just a portion of everything you have, and not even a big one. So what you're giving in exchange for democracy is some money and a little bit of obligation. Okay, what do you get? So, as previously mentioned, you get peace, right? That's good. Have you ever been to Somalia? You get peace, you get police departments, you get fire departments, you get a post office for now. You get the various departments of government that aid you to a degree, that possibly can. And that's just government as it exists, right? That's just government as it has been stripped down, deneutered, kicked in the nuts, and shit on by the Republicans. Think about all that it could give you. Think about all that democracy gave Americans before the Republicans fucked it up. How about that? How about a middle class? You like that? How about breathable air? How about, and this is a big one, how about a country without a pandemic? That's kind of nice. Before Trump came along, we had a relatively functional government that could do relatively functional things. But see, Republicans come in and they justify their acts of terror by saying that they want a small government. That they say government's too big, right? They've said that my entire life. Government is too damn big. Right. Okay. So let me ask you something. You have something that works real well. Say it's your car, right? Your car works real well. But you know what? Your car is too big. We need it to be smaller. We want smaller cars. So we're going to start stripping pieces off of that car. We're going to strip out the tires, the engine, the seats, and the body. You get everything else. And hey, it's a car. It functions just as well as it functions. It can't be better than that, right? That's what Republicans would have us believe, along with about 1 million other lies. So when these idiots go out and say that they're practicing their freedoms, I can't help but wonder, what good is that doing anyone? Like, I get that freedoms are important and you want to practice them, but why not practice them for the betterment of all? Why practice them to be an asshole? Why does that have to be their outlet? You know, like as if the only way to practice freedoms in America is to be an asshole. Think about our stance on guns. Think about how America is on guns. You ever see someone be nice with a gun? You ever see someone be friendly with a gun? No, people have guns to be assholes. Sadly, it's the American way. I don't doubt for a moment that it will get worse, that the assholes who follow Trump will get much, much worse. I hate to say it, but you know it just as well as I do. Which is why we have to remember why we have this form of government. We have to remember everything we get, and we have to appreciate everything we get, so that when the assholes on the right come to tell us why we shouldn't have it, like the post office, for instance, why we shouldn't have a post office after a couple hundred years of doing a pretty good job, you got to remember what you get that the Republicans will continually try to tell you isn't worth it, so that they can have the money and pay off their rich lobbyists so they can keep their jobs and things just get worse and worse and worse. So that's my little political rant for today. I know I told you at the beginning I would try not to talk politics, and I have tried really hard. It's been difficult for me to watch as our government, as our country just crumbles away at the hands of incompetent, stupid, evil individuals. But I mean, they've got a captured audience, right? It's hard not to see it. It's hard to avoid seeing it. You just gotta, enjoy your coffee and do what little you can to help people keep the faith, which is kind of what this is. When I feel really noble, when I try to forget that it's just me bullshitting to my phone. Anyway, that's it for this week, and that's it for 4 weeks. I want to thank anyone who's been here watching. If anyone who's watching right now, this has been a strange experiment, and it will continue. It might not continue as often. Because quite frankly, I've been kind of doing this at the expense of everything else. So I'm going to try and take a step back, and I'm going to try and play more video games, to be honest with you. I read this thing the other day, somebody just saying that now is the time to do those things that you've always wanted to do. Now is the time. And starting next week, I'll be back out again. I'll be on the road. I'll be walking, hopefully hiking. I've had a week plus of lockdown, and I am losing my fucking mind. But I'll be back out again next week to take care of myself a little bit better. And I will take you out there with me. You can be sure. I have a feeling there was something I was talking about and I've totally forgotten. But that wouldn't come as any surprise to you now, would it? Let's see, real quick. What else? I should tell you that we ran out of sweet cream creamer. This coffee is almost black. But we did get some more creamer, so we will have some more creamer. Vicky went out and did a Herculean grocery shopping trip yesterday and had groceries delivered. Vicky has been amazing through all of this. We, the two of us, have really surpassed my expectations for how long we have gone without killing one or the other or both of us. What can I tell? What else? I heard from my editor last night, who is reading a book I've handed off to him called Little Mike. And Little Mike is due out later, I believe later this year, especially if everything gets pushed back. Fortunately, I've got a couple books in the bank, 3 books in the bank that are going through being edited. So even if I can't write, production slowly continues. And my editor wrote to me last night to tell me that Little Mike is, as he said, pretty fucking bleak. If you've read any of my work, Little Mike is kind of in the vein of Wormfood Island. Little Mike is one of the really Ken LaSalle books. It's where I let where I allow the totality of my anger and everything just to come out and play. So it's that kind of book. Certainly along the lines of Wormfood Island, certainly not along the lines of any of the Heaven books. So you'll be hearing more about that in the coming months. But it was nice to hear that my editor appreciated exactly what the book was for, because that book is meant to be a pretty fucking bleak book, and I'll tell you all about it in the months to come. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. Or I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. But I have a feeling, having started this, and now that there are a few people who watch, thank you, I may continue this after all this craziness is over. Certainly not as regularly, but I have formed kind of an appreciation for getting a little chance to say hi to all of the human beings out there on the internet, both of you. So until next time, and until next week, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and let's make this world a better place. Have a wonderful weekend. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. And there you have it. You've just survived another Ken LaSalle video. For more information about new releases, projects in the works, or even stuff from the archives, head on down to kenlasalle.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and all around social media, just as long as it's called Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for your support, as always. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll be back soon with more nonsense.